Welcome back to another FPL video. This will be the transfer tips for Game Week 22, and there's still a long way to go until the deadline, so there may be an updated version of this video, and I'm looking to publish the best wildcard team, the team selection. Let me know if there's any other type of video you want to see on this channel. Put it in the comment section down below, and if this video gets to over 200 likes, there's going to be much more content heading your way for the next 2 weeks until that Game Week 22 deadline. On screen you can see the most transferred in players, and in today's video I'll be covering 10 players to buy, hold, sell and skip. Without further ado, let's jump straight into this video. The first buy will be Estupiñán, and I think the last time I covered him in one of these types of videos was back in the first few game weeks of the season. He's priced at 5.1 million. He keeps on going up in price despite not even kicking a ball in Game Week 21 yet. His ownership is also around 26%. It soon will be by the time this video is published. 2 goals and 3 assists in just 8 game weeks there for the Ecuadorian, and 2 big chances with 4 big chances created and 37 FPL points. A very decent return considering the limited minutes and that lengthy injury he had. But those fixtures coming up are very promising. 4 green fixtures over the next 5. Wolves at home, Luton Town away, Crystal Palace at home and Sheffield United away look very enticing. Tottenham away you probably don't expect much, but Estupiñán did score in the reverse fixture, and that was upon his comeback. A fantastic finish from outside the box, and Estupiñán is just a constant threat down that left-hand side, and he's also got the bonus points potential as well. And Brighton are looking a bit better defensively. I think they will keep some clean sheets over the next 6, and also with Brighton players, there's not going to be a blank around Game Week 26 like you would get from the likes of Liverpool players, Chelsea and Spurs, and that's why Estupiñán is one of the best defenders to buy right now. The next buy will be much riskier. You're going for a differential and buying him before the crowds do, and that would be James Maddison. In similar fashion to a De Bruyne last week where hundreds of thousands bought him in and he delivered 12 points off the bench. Well, Maddison might not do that straight away, but he's got some good long-term fixtures, and if you want to buy a Spurs attacker, Maddison might be the best one to get at this moment in time, although it's very hard to ignore Richarlison, who I covered in last week's video, and also I've been talking about him quite extensively over the last couple of weeks. But Maddison has gone down in price to 7.8 million compared to when he was up and flying until that injury against Chelsea. His ownership is 7.7%. 3 goals, 6 assists, 31 key passes and 63 FPL points. He had a very good start to the season, and I would back him to do very well over the next 6 game weeks. Just bear in mind that Spurs could blank in Game Week 26 if Chelsea reach the Carabao Cup final, because Spurs will be playing Chelsea in that fixture. Now, the underlying numbers aren't particularly great for James Maddison. His XG is less than 3. His expected assist is 3.11. 4 big chances, 6 big chances created in a matter of 11 games. It's not bad, but the numbers aren't particularly great. However, with Maddison, he's clinical, a very efficient player in terms of his finishing and also with his creativity. So I think Maddison would become a buy. It might not be necessarily for Game Week 22 though, and it's more so in the next couple of weeks and a matter of timing. And also, if Spurs do blank in Game Week 26, it might be an awkward purchase. If Chelsea are knocked out and that fixture stands in Game Week 26, then even better, because Maddison could do very well against anybody, including the likes of Chelsea. I covered De Bruyne in last week's video, and I didn't want to cover him again, but because he's going to be so popular and everyone wants to talk about him, he has to be covered in this edition as well. And as I said last week, for me, once De Bruyne builds up his fitness, he will become a buy, but I would skip him at this moment in time, and it still might ring true here, and it's just a matter of when you buy him in. You don't necessarily have to against Burnley at home, which, to be fair, is a very plumb fixture. And look, he could start that match, and it's a very difficult one to anticipate because you have that FA Cup fixture with Tottenham in between, where De Bruyne might be rested there and save for the Premier League and against the likes of Burnley, and that's why De Bruyne could be a buy in Game Week 22, get 60-70 minutes, be subbed off, and also well managed over this coming period where Man City have a lot of games coming up, especially in February when the Champions League returns. There'll be UCL fantasy content for Matchday 7 as well. But as you can see, one big development since the last transfer tips video is the double game week for Manchester City. They have Chelsea and Brentford at home in Game Week 25, and the fixtures before and afterwards look very encouraging there for the citizens. And I think that Tottenham fixture in the FA Cup could also give us a lot of insight into whether De Bruyne will play against Burnley or whether he won't. And it's always going to be difficult to predict anyway, but I think De Bruyne could start against Burnley, get 60-70 minutes, then be subbed off, and in that time he can cause extensive damage to Vincent Kompany's side. But De Bruyne is definitely worth a purchase and the risk, as you saw against Newcastle, and perhaps I was wrong to say skip him heading into that game, but you even saw there only 20 minutes off the bench, and that's because Man City were losing, they were desperate, they needed someone who could change the game, and De Bruyne was the biggest game changer they had in their entire squad. But his ownership is quite high considering he's only played 40 minutes this season. 1 goal, 1 assist, 4 key passes in a matter of 45 minutes or so is absolutely ridiculous, and 13 FPL points. But be careful with De Bruyne, he will frustrate, he's very injury prone, and he will be managed extensively by Pep Guardiola, so De Bruyne is ready and primed for the second half of the season. But it's only a matter of time before De Bruyne will enter a lot of our thinking and be a great option for Double Game Week 25. The updates from Monday, the 15th of January, are that Jarrod Bowen could play against Sheffield United and that West Ham are very hopeful he's back for Game Week 21. And if that's the case, he's definitely going to be available for Bournemouth at home. And despite facing Man United and Arsenal in the next 3, he has returned against both clubs in the reverse fixture just a couple of weeks ago. And the long-term fixtures are still pretty decent for West Ham, who can always cause problems to the best of teams anyway. He's priced at 8.1 million. His ownership is 27.6%. He was one of the ideal Salah or Son replacements, but because of that injury, a lot of people bought him and then sold him within the same week. But he could be back for Sheffield United and do very well in that fixture. 11 goals, 2 assists, 15 big chances, 111 FPL points, and his XG 7.75. There's a lot of good stats there for Jarrod Bowen. Even the creativity isn't too bad either. Now, there are some concerns with no Lucas Paqueta for at least a month or two, and you've also got no Kudus due to AFCON, but Bowen can still do pretty well without them. Of course, his ceiling will be lower. He might blank a bit more often than he has been all season, and the injury could still be concerning. He might be rushed back in for Sheffield United, and then he maybe is subbed off quite early on in the game. I'm hoping that's not the case, but there are still some concerns about this, and let's wait and see what happens over the weekend. But for me, Jarrod Bowen is a hold, and I would expect him to be available for that Bournemouth fixture. It's a similar situation with Trent Alexander-Arnold, but in this case, I just don't see him playing in Game Week 21 at all. If he does, it'd be very surprising. I've got him in my starting 11 just in case, but that could also block Pedro Porro's 6 points on my bench, but you'll see all of that discussed in the team selection video. For me, Trent Alexander-Arnold is a hold, especially while Salah and Son are unavailable due to AFCON and the Asian Cup, and you're looking to spread the funds around. Now, with those of you maybe looking to buy De Bruyne and Haaland and you need a way to fund the move, Trent could be one of the likely sacrifices, but at the moment, I'm actually more inclined to sell a Saka in the coming weeks than a Trent Alexander-Arnold, who has been in terrific form since Game Week 8. He's priced at 8.5 million. He's actually maybe not a differential, but quite a lone-owned player in the grand scheme of things. 2 goals, 4 assists, 18 bonus points is absolutely ridiculous. And also the key passes, 49, 12 big chances created, and his FPL points is close to 100. And Arsenal away looks pretty tough in Game Week 23, but Trent Alexander-Arnold has done very well against the Gunners in the past. He even got an assist in the FA Cup for the own goal that also won Liverpool the game there. And also the fixtures afterwards are pretty decent over the next 5. Even Chelsea at home doesn't look particularly tough nowadays, despite them winning 3 games in a row. So for me, Trent Alexander-Arnold is a hold. He could be back for that fixture against the Blues, and if that's the case, he's definitely worth holding on to for the next couple of weeks. I like to cover different options in the trans tips videos, but because of Haaland's situation in the last couple of weeks where he's been missing and we don't know exactly when he's going to return and should we buy him in this week or wait a little bit longer, that's why he keeps popping about in these videos recently, but that should certainly change very soon. He is a hold right now. Wait for more information and see if he's available for Burnley or if he has a chance. If he is clear to play, then he's a definite buy, and this blue turns into a green. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. With those fixtures, with no Salah or Son for the time being, and that double game week on the horizon, 2 home fixtures there, and they look pretty good on paper. But the latest updates we got from Pep Guardiola regarding Haaland were from 4 days ago on the 12th of January. And he says, yeah, a little bit of a setback. He's fine, but a little problem disturbing his feet. Hopefully at the end of the month, he'll be ready. The bone needs time. Every injury you can do what you want, but it's a question of time. So he's currently being assessed. I don't expect him to feature against Tottenham in the FA Cup, but I would expect him to feature in Gameweek 22 against Burnley. But wait for more information. That is the key here with Erling Haaland. If you still have him, then definitely keep him, because he's been transferred out by over 100,000 managers, and you might do something similar to Bowen where you buy him in, then sell him. But in this case, you'd be selling Haaland, then buying him back in. So for me, Erling Haaland is definitely a hold for now, and if he's available for Burnley, he definitely becomes a buy. The first sell of this video is Cameron Archer, but it's all circumstantial. If you want to keep a budget forward, then Archer is absolutely fine. You can hold him. He's got good fixtures coming up, decent underlying numbers for a 4.5 million forward, 3 goals, 2 assists, 4 big chances, 5 big chances created, and around 18 key passes, 56 FPL points, which is similar to players like Jota. That will certainly change, but still, that's pretty impressive. And Archer plays most games. He will have the odd benching, but when he does start, he is capable of these big returns. When he gets that goal, the bonus points almost certainly is included as well. But I would still sell Archer and upgrade to an Erling Haaland. And some of you might be looking at different forwards, such as Joao Pedro, or maybe you want to go for an Isak, who is in great form right now. Not to mention Ivan Toney, who's got a double in Gameweek 25 against Liverpool and Manchester City. So for me, Cameron Archer is a sell. But if you want that third forward who's going to sit on your bench and be an enabler in that sort of scenario, Cameron Archer would be a hold. I discussed selling the likes of Cash and Diaby many weeks ago, and once again it rings true. Cash's ownership is still over 17%. His price is 4.7 million. I sold him last week for a Stupinian. Let's see how that goes as part of a -4 hit for Gameweek 21. 2 goals and 1 assist, but those 2 goals came against Burnley back in Gameweek 3, and his XGI is actually quite impressive for a defender, but he's not delivering on those returns, on those underlying numbers, and that's why he's got 51 FPL points. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what the calculations are, but I'm pretty sure over the last 5 to 10 game weeks, he barely has that many points, probably a similar amount of points compared to games. He's simply not good enough as an FPL option. Despite the great fixtures coming up for Aston Villa, they have been in a bit of shaky form, dropping points against teams they shouldn't be, like Sheffield United at home. But Cash is just so frustrating. He's not going to start the vast majority of these games, as he's no longer the first choice right back, and that was with no Pau Torres back in the lineup, which I thought would result in Cash being benched. Torres wasn't available, yet Cash was benched anyway. So for me, he's an easy sell. There is no point holding on to him right now unless you have 4 really good defenders that you're happy with. Your squad depth is absolutely fine, and you want to make other transfers and buy in the likes of De Bruyne and go for that attacking potential. Luis Diaz started the season well. I remember talking about buying him in one of the first Trans Tips videos of this season, but I've never really liked him as an FPL option. I think he's a great dribbler, very fun to watch, but the goals and assists are very inconsistent. Even when he first joined Liverpool, and he looked like a revelation, and also adding on top of that squad depth and that front line of Mane, Firmino and Salah. But Diaz for me is still a skip. He scored against Arsenal in the FA Cup. That was a superb finish in the top corner, but I'm still not convinced by him. I've been asked a lot by people recently, should I buy Luis Diaz? And my answer is no. I'd rather go for Diogo Jota or even Darwin Nunez in the forward line. And I think Diaz is worth skipping at this moment in time. 3 goals, 2 assists, 35 shots. The shot volume is always pretty good with the Colombian, and 56 FPL points, which is similar or identical to Cameron Archer. 5 big chances, 22 key passes. The underlying numbers are bang average. Some of them are pretty decent, like the key passes, but most of them, like the XG and the expected assists, and combined that's around 6. It's just not good enough in a matter of 19 games when you're playing for Liverpool, who are the best team in the league at this moment in time. So for me, Luis Diaz is a skip. Let's see if this changes in the near future. The 10th and final player covered in today's video is Timo Werner, and the first time I showed my face on this channel, people were saying, Timo Werner, Timo Werner. Let's calm down with that, yeah? But Timo Werner for me is a skip. I think he's more of a wait and see, and I'd rather go for Richarlison right now and James Maddison once he's back and ready to start games. I think Werner could be a decent option at 6.5 million and a massive differential, but with a potential blank in Gameweek 26, I don't see a need to go for the German. I have to say, he got into some great positions against Manchester United. His pace and his positioning are 2 great assets, but the finishing is probably his worst trait, and he had 5 shots and he never looked like scoring against the Red Devils. We've only seen Werner play 79 minutes in a Tottenham shirt. It's a very small sample size. He looked encouraging. He might get some goal contributions, especially assists, but I don't trust him to score enough goals to justify that inclusion over Joao Pedro, Tony, Watkins, Solanke, Haaland, who for me are the best 5 forwards in the game right now. So I would skip Timo Werner, keep an eye on him, but there are better assets from Tottenham Hotspur. There we have it, 10 players to buy, hold, sell and skip, all covered. You can see the most transferred out players at this time of the game week on screen. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Who else do you want to cover? Are there any other players you're unsure about and whether they're a buy, hold, sell or skip? Let me know down in the comment section below, and be sure to smash the like button and subscribe for new. Let's try to get this video to the 200 likes, and we're going to keep on pushing towards 23k subscribers and beyond. That will be our aim for the next month or so. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and check all the links in the description below for the Patreon, Championships Discord server, and the FPL League. All of that is there. I wish you all the best of luck for Gameweek 22 and also Gameweek 21, and I'll see you next time.